Lisa. When I did my album walkthrough a few weeks ago, the very end, I didn't have a page for it. I didn't have my last page, which is usually just a single photo of my husband and I. I went through my photos this weekend and I found this one that I had not scrapped. I printed it in 5x7 of us on the beach, and it happens to be in the fall. And when I went through my papers, I wasn't looking for fall collections, but I had this paper that just went beautifully with it, and it's called Golden Days from Fancy Pants, and it happens to be a fall collection. And the other papers from the collection look really nicely with this too. So the embellishments for the collection have some puffy dots and puffy stickers here with this lovely sheen to them, and I think I can actually even use this title, Golden Fall Days, for this. I think that would be perfect, and I like the word love. There's lots of things in here I like. I'm not going to use the fall leaves and that sort of thing, but I do want to utilize some of these great colors. And it also came with sequins, and this is something I do not use very much at all. I haven't opened this pack, so I don't know what all is in here. I know it's going to go everywhere when I open it, so I'm going to get a Ziploc bag or something to put these in. But I want to probably use some of these, and it all works out with this sketch. The order of this is I found the photo, and I found the background paper, and then I went looking for a sketch. And in my 2016 sketchbook, I have this sketch that I think works really well with it if I flip it. I want us on the right side. If I put us over here, that's okay, but I think I'd rather have us to the right, sort of, we're looking ahead, but then it leaves all of this space over here to the left side of the page. So I'm going to put the photo on the right side of the page, and so that would make this element curve this way. This was designed originally to be used with 6x6 papers and cut up lots of strips and make this curve. I don't want to do that for this page. I would rather have one continuous paper down there. These are small prints, and I could do that, but I don't think I want to. So I'm going to pick one of these to make this curve. I might layer it this way and do a couple of different layers going this direction. I'm probably not going to have a lot of journaling since it's sort of an end page for the book, but I can use that for some more paper. I will do some embellishment groups here, and then I can sprinkle my sequins down this range. So it works really well for the page. So we'll keep that handy. Other embellishments that came with this are these tags. I don't know if I'll use the tags or not, maybe. And then all of these die cuts. So we'll be spreading those out and picking out a few of those. I don't know, I don't know if I want to use the flowers and the leaves and that kind of thing. Again, this was a fall collection, but there may be some things in here that I can work with. But I know I'm going to use the sequins and some of these puffy stickers. So let me trim off the branding strip, and let's decide which of these papers will make a good bottom border for this page. This was from my mind's eye, and it just happened to be in the drawer with these, and I liked it. So I'm looking at these different papers. I like this wood grain because to me it kind of looks a little bit like water, and the green one, and I really thought I would use that peach with the white dots, but I decided I liked the peach wood grain a little bit better. So we're going to trim it down, and I'm going to use my sketch to determine the size here in just a moment. Before we get to that, let's take a look at all of these die cuts and pick out some that will work on the layout. So there are a lot of fall things here, leaves and feathers and things that don't really work, but there are plenty of words like beauty, magic, and even the flowers are a possibility. Several phrases. Some things about being together, which is very relevant. And that little pile in the upper right corner there with the deer and stuff, that's the definitely knows. And then the others are possibilities. And I'll just keep sorting through these. And we have the sequins. So I'm not ready for these yet, but I thought I'd pull a few out so I wouldn't forget to put them on there, since it's not something I normally use. And then I'll put them in a Ziploc bag, and they'll be handy for this project and other projects. I love these little flower shapes. I hadn't noticed that when I first got this collection in. As I say, this was a warehouse box, so those give me an opportunity to get things that I probably wouldn't buy individually. And I pulled out a few of the tags as possibilities and just have a scrap piece of chipboard that I'm going to lay everything on and then put it aside, so I'll have those embellishments ready. Now I've trimmed off the branding strip for my main paper, and I'm using my sketch. The sketch is print out 6 by 6. So if you're doing a 12 by 12 page, you just double anything on the sketch and it will tell you how big to cut the items. So in this case, I doubled it, and I knew that I needed that curve to be about 4 inches on one end and 3 inches on the other. And so I've got it upside down. So I'm marking the curve, and if you're turning something upside down, you just have to, of course, remember to flip the orientation of this so that the big curve in this case is on the right, but when I flip it over, it'll be on the left side of the page. And then I'm going to do the same kind of thing for the other papers in here. And you never see me using a paper trimmer because I use a guillotine style paper trimmer. It's really large. It's not really, really large, but it's too big to move over to my work table. I have a little table, an old nightstand, on to the right of my desk, and that's where the paper trimmer sits. I have had that thing for 20 years or more. Actually, I don't think it's been quite 20 years. But I've had it a long time, and it came from the office supply store, and it just is indestructible, I guess, and I just love it. All right, the gray one so far I haven't trimmed down. I did decide I'd add a little bit more of the peach color in there, and what I did with the gray is I trimmed the very ends, just angled them down slightly so it wouldn't be just straight across. And sneaking a little of the leftover peach in there so it looks a little bit like waves. The sketch had a matte behind the photos, but I didn't feel like I needed it. This is a larger photo than the sketch normally, and with everything else going on there, I just didn't think I needed the matte. So we have our words. I use my paper piercer to get some of the little bits out of the middles. I use a Dressmaker's Awl for a paper piercer, and I have had mine a really long time, and I finally saw one of these on a Cherry on Top's website because they sell, other things besides scrapbooking. They had this little awl, and it's spelled A-W-L, like a carpenter's awl, except it's much smaller. So we're using a few of the stickers here, and then I'm going to decide on my embellishment groups. And I looked at the tags, but my concern with the tags is they're just too formal, too office, too structured for this whole beach thing. And I kind of liked the flowers. I wouldn't really think of the flowers at the beach, but they're still a possibility. I really like the words, and I have October and November there, and I'm going to use those along with the date. So we've got pretty things like nature's paintbrush, the word magic, which is perfect for these sunrise photos. And then I remembered I did have something round that's kind of soft and goes with the beach look, and that is these doilies. This is from Stamping Up. I just have trouble separating them. These very tiny, I think 3-inch doilies. And I tried one on each side, and that was a little too much to do two exactly the same size. And I remembered that I had some in my mixed media drawers that are a little larger, so I'm going to get one of those out and put up in the upper right hand corner. And then I won't use all of it. And there it is, and we're just going to end up using a corner of it. And I'll trim it down in a moment. I also had this canvas sun And I'm just giving it some gold color with fossilized amber distress ink, which you'll need to dry. Those inks stay wet a little bit longer than other inks. I'm going to use a couple of the arrows and that little heart. We're going to do a puffy heart on top of a die cut heart. Came out of the pack. And I'm using just a few of these little dots that came with the collection. And mostly we're going to add sequins now to the background and sprinkle those along. As I said, I really didn't feel like I needed journaling. It's kind of self-explanatory, and it's just the end page to the book. Now I sort of sprinkle these around, and then I will use Tombow adhesive to glue them on. You'll notice that I put the word days over on the photo a little bit. I'm putting a few of these on top of the photo. So all the elements are sort of joined together just gently, touching one another, and it keeps everything connected. Let's look at some close-ups of our page where we used lots of the sequins, some of the die-cut pieces, just added a little bit of other things from my stash, some canvas pieces. Got to use this wonderful title. It's just perfect for this page. You don't really think of it as being fall, but it's our first fall trip to the beach. So I think maybe we'd been there in late September before, but to really be there in October, November kind of time frame was different for us, and it was just beautiful. So I got to use something out of all of the embellishments, except the tags. I didn't end up using the tags. But some out of all of the embellishments that I had that came with this. I originally bought this as part of a warehouse box from Fancy Pants, so I'm very pleased with how this looks. It's so rare to find designer paper that works with these sunrise photos. And so I just love this, and it'll probably get used for some more of it later on. So thanks so much for joining me today. The sketch came from the 2016 sketchbook. I have sketchbooks for 4 years now. You can find a link for that in the description for this video if you're interested in those. You can obviously adjust them. We did the 2 embellishment groups. I dropped the journaling. I didn't really need that, but I added some dates over here, but kept everything pretty much the same that it would normally be, except just flipped. So, and I did do one of the swaps and suggestions, which was use a 5x7 photo for this page. So this is a 75-page PDF. The others have varying different numbers of sketches in the different books. A couple of them I think have 52 sketches. One has 45 or 40 or like 40 sketches last year. So lots of sketches in these books that you can use for your scrapbook layouts, and they all have a link to the process video that originally went with the sketch. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, I'd love to get a thumbs up as that helps YouTube advance my channel.